For Transformers fans, each new iteration of the franchise, whether that be a new show or a new movie, brings a mix of excitement and anxiety. The excitement being, oh my gosh, I can't wait for this new story. I want to see what the writers have brought to the table. It's new. That's why it's exciting. The anxiety is other new stuff, like characters. Will our favorite characters be portrayed faithfully? Will they live up to our expectations? From the original G1 series to the present day, there's been an unwritten standard for what we expect from each new Transformers show. We want to see familiar characters, recognizable designs, a commitment to honoring their true rich character history in the franchise. I think this is the case for any G1 character. If they get brought into a new show, we expect them to be almost the exact same as they were in G1, with exceptions to maybe little changes in their character. Armada, of course, blows this completely out of the water and says, screw you, we actually changed every character in that series and didn't resemble their G1 counterpart at all, even though they had the same names for trademark purposes, and it was still a good show. Screw you, your point is pointless. And that is true, Armada was actually pretty good. So I'll let that part slide. But when you get shows like Transformers Robots in Disguise 2015, and you have Grimlock being a weird Decepticon who acts nothing like he is in any continuity ever, it's bad. It's really bad. Sideswipe sucks. Bumblebee tries to act like Optimus, even though it's a sequel to Transformers Prime. Bumblebee still doesn't act like himself from Transformers Prime. And they have this new, they have Armstrong, who's like an OC, even though they have like dozens of Autobots to choose from. And they're just like, nope, we're going to make a new character because, screw it. That's how you get bad shows like that, for not being faithful to any sort of past character variation. So today, I want to go to a G1 character who seems to not always be handled the best through each continuity. And that's Wheeljack. Yeah. Wheeljack has had different iterations. Sometimes he represents a little of his G1 self, whether that be his design or just personality, or sometimes he's not even Wheeljack. Sometimes he's Sideswipe named as Wheeljack. This is the Armada exception. I want to show you who the best iteration of Wheeljack was. Now, first, what makes Wheeljack, Wheeljack? Well, in my opinion, Wheeljack is the mad scientist. He's always itching to make some new invention to help his Autobots in battle. He's smart with his brain, but also can be smart with his fists, whenever he feels the need to get them dirty. But just because he is nerdy and goofy sometimes, does not mean he doesn't have his moments of awe. He's the perfect balance of brains and brawn. Or bravery is a better word for it. For I don't think Wheeljack is to be considered a combat specialist. I don't see him as kind of the ranks as Jazz, or Cliffjumper, or Ironhide, or Sideswipe. I don't think he's that. I think he has some combat knowledge, but not enough skill in it to be considered a combat specialist. I think it's more the term bravery for so that he isn't afraid to go into a fight with a Decepticon twice his size, knowing that he might not make it out, but he won't be afraid to put up a fight. And that's where I think the bravery is in Wheeljack. And that's what I think makes up Wheeljack as a character, is his brains and his bravery. He's a nerd, but he's not a coward. So with that sort of criteria, who do I think is the best Wheeljack? It's one who isn't even referred to as Wheeljack. That's right, baby. It's Q from Transformers Dark of the Moon.
Oh, come on. They're great inventions for kicking ass.
Hold on. Stop. Just hear me out. Just some background first for people that don't know about Q. Q is a minor character who shows up in the very first Transformers movies. Well, I should say, one movie, which was Transformers Dark of the Moon. And this is such a weird thing to admit to, but Q stays very faithful to the original Wheeljack. If you look past the massacre of a design he has in Dark of the Moon, which I get, it's very hard, you can see that that's Wheeljack. That is Wheeljack. And here's with my first example. Our first introduction to Q in Dark of the Moon is when we see him in the Nest base. And what's he doing?
This gun is my perfect invention, Ironhide. Right. Oh.
He's giving a new invention, which just so happens to just be a really cool gun, but it's an invention, to Ironhide. He built something, an invention, to help his teammates. That's the engineering part of Wheeljack shown in the first, 5 seconds of his introduction. And that is awesome. Right off the bat. And also, despite its design being really weird, it surprisingly resembles Wheeljack. Those sides on his hair, those hair on the sides of his head, they light up when he talks. I don't know if anybody knows this because it is very subtle. His hair is kind of like a light blue, but when he speaks, it gets to an electric blue. But it's very slight. It's a very slight tint that I don't think a lot of people catch on to. But it glows. And anyone who knows Wheeljack from any iteration knows that he has those big, Mickey Mouse ears that glow whenever he talks. So, not only in his first 5 seconds of introduction, we are showing him being an engineering nerd and loves tinkering with stuff, aiding his comrades. His design also pays homage to his original G1 design with the sides of his head glowing. Sure, it's weird, but it still resembles a bit of Wheeljack if you really think about it. And we are shown again his obsession with inventions and making them and explaining how they work. It's when he creates what he calls his urban combat prototypes. With the humans, he discusses them with the humans and with the Autobots, but he creates them for the humans so they can fend off the Decepticons. And actually, in this scene, he actually nerds out over his inventions. He's explaining his work, and before he can get into anything really specific, you can tell he really wants to, but he just doesn't, because the Autobots have to cut him off before he rambles on, because he's so obsessed and he's so passionate about inventing, and you can really see this in this character. And to top it all off, those inventions are actually really useful in the movie, because they are the reasons why Starscream dies and Barricade dies. Starscream falls into the clutches of Sam, and Sam uses one of the urban combat prototypes to fend off Starscream, and it ends up with him literally blowing up.
Counter-terrorists win.
Good job, Q, on the assist. Real nice job. And Barricade gets blown up by his boomstick. Now, Barricade was presumed dead, but because of fan service, he was brought back in the 5th movie. But no, Q, they stole your kill. That's a kill. You did it. You did it, you son of a gun. Anyway, it just shows that his inventions that he made did work and helped the Autobots advance in battle, and that's what Wheeljack's character really is. Making stuff for his team to do good. That's who Wheeljack is, and that's what Wheeljack does. Now, we've got the brains aspect of Wheeljack down. Super down in this movie already. What about, the bravery I was talking about? Because in this movie, unfortunately, you don't really see Q laying down some cons with a good old knuckle sandwich. He's in this movie for maybe 2 minutes of screen time. But when they go through Chicago, and they're all in alt mode, driving around, moving positions, Q's with them. He's not driving around to the side, he's not finding some other safe route, he is with them. He's in close proximity to his teammates and comrades. He's not a coward, he's not afraid to be in the front lines. He doesn't want to hold back, he doesn't want to be that coward. He wants to be up front with everybody, he wants to be loyal, he wants to be trustful. He wants to be a good teammate. And even though he is one of the smallest Autobots in that whole battle, it does not make him bat an eye. He is in there to win it despite whatever happens to him. And that's where the bravery aspect comes in with this iteration of Wheeljack. That's where it comes from Q. Now, the ironic part of whatever happens to him is that, obviously, Q dies in this movie. Spoiler alert, sorry. Q dies in this movie. And I think this scene is very important to add to with Wheeljack's character and just respect to his character.
B, I think they're going to kill us.
Your time is...
Wait. We surrendered. We're your prisoners.
Move it.
Can't we talk this out? We're all a bunch of good chaps. I mean, Why did you...
Goodbye, my old friend.
what does this scene resemble G1 Wheeljack? How does it resemble G1 Wheeljack? And it's not that he dies in the Transformers 1986 movie, too. It's not that. Watching your favorite Transformers' lifeless corpse and not have an on-screen death is pretty brutal, and I am very salty about it. Anyway, though, this resembles the relationship between Bumblebee and Wheeljack, because when Q dies, Bumblebee says this line.
Goodbye, my old friend.
Now, this shows the relationship Bumblebee and Wheeljack have. And it's not, it's not like they're like best friends or anything like that. They're not like, besties in G1. That's not like a thing. But what is a thing is their journey that they have been on together. And you might be thinking, wait, what do you mean, what journey? Go back to the first Transformers G1 episode. Who's the first character you see on screen? Wheeljack. Who's the second character you see on screen? Bumblebee. Wheeljack and Bumblebee have been on this journey from the literal beginning of Transformers. And they pay respect to the journeys both of them have been on and where they came from. And I think it's such a cool little reference to just that scene. And I think, Q isn't this, ironic character that nobody respects the death of. I think his death is very respectable. They were mourning over it. Bumblebee is mourning over one of the first guys he ever knew. And they're the first guys we've ever knew in Transformers, if you think about it. And that's what I like about this scene, is that it pays respects to Wheeljack's character. It doesn't make fun of it. It's true, it's faithful, and I don't think people see that just because of the design he has and the name change he has. People really do not like to look at Q as a version of Wheeljack, and I completely see why. Though, let's say you replace the voice actor and the Albert Einstein model with Steve Blum's voice and Wheeljack's model from the Bumblebee movie. You have the most accurate Wheeljack you've ever seen in any Transformers media. And we don't get that because Q looks like Q. But Q's writing is Wheeljack. That's Wheeljack. It is so perfectly Wheeljack that just because his model doesn't look like Wheeljack, it's somehow just not Wheeljack. But it is. It really is. And I want people to see Q as Wheeljack because he perfectly resembles his G1 character. Very respectfully, too. And Wheeljack is my favorite Transformer. I love Wheeljack. I love everything about him. I love every Wheeljack iteration. I mean, because he's a reoccurring character. He's never a major character, though. So whenever I see him, I'm like, oh my god, there he is. That's awesome. So this took me, a lot of thought to process how the third movie accurately portrayed him. I was in denial. I still kind of am, but now I can't really have a reason why, because I have so much evidence that he is really good. He's a really good, accurate representation of Wheeljack. So that's why I now stand behind that Q is the best iteration of Wheeljack we have had since G1. Oh my god, that is a lot of weight to put on my shoulders, but jeez, it kind of feels right. Anyway, this might be the most controversial thing to talk about, a Bayverse Transformer being an actual good depiction of a character. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you guys think Q is the best Wheeljack 2? Have I changed your mind? Have I not changed your mind? Why haven't I changed your mind? And who do you think is the best iteration of Wheeljack? Let me know, and I'm going to be making more Transformers videos. I'm going to try to be pumping out. I've got a few good ideas coming up on the way. I've got a discussion about my favorite episode, the Trans-Europe Express in Season 2. That's my favorite episode of G1. And I've got 2 others that I'm not really sure what they are, but, I'm thinking about it. So anyways, I got some stuff on the way, so you got that to look forward to. Anyways, I'm Anything Around, and I'll see you guys next Cyber Cycle, I guess. I don't know. Just play the music.